Hey. Ooh, the fader word figuring. Woo. How are you doing?
Oh, that is such a loaded question today, my friend. I am a little bit of a mess. I dropped my youngest at college today, and I don't know if it's because I just don't remember. I remember it being so different. I just kind of remember being dropped and gone. I mean, we set up the room, but it was a whole day affair. And actually, I had to take off a little early before there was some banquet or something. But I was like, "Ooh, I didn't schedule to have a substitute today for us." So, and then Atlanta traffic, joy, joy. But it's good. I'm so grateful to be here with you today and to have this conversation.
Yes, yes,
How are
me too.
you?
I'm good. I hear what you're saying, and throughout the week, I've been thinking about that answer a lot. I always say, I'm good, I'm great. And that is true. But it's also always true that there's so much stuff going on. You know, like
Whew.
today, we're talking about social wellness. And when I say there's books that could be written, movies that have been and still need to be, like, it's a continuous conversation. So I'm really good. I'm grateful. And like I say, referring back to you, holding both grief and gratitude.
Boy, both, right? So much so. So much so. I'm feeling that today. A little bittersweet, but
Yeah.
I ran and jumped online, so I haven't had time to process it all. I'm sure afterwards there'll be some wailing happening. But should we introduce ourselves and get started, my friend?
Yes. Yes.
Right,
Hi,
let's do it.
ladies. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial business owner, the owner of Shalo Glow LLC, a handmade shea butter company. I am your champion for natural self care and your practical business systems.
Hey, y'all, I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, and published author who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes, and together we are Women Connected in Wisdom, a podcast grounded in the eight dimensions of wellness.
And every week we get together to have intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. And we have
Yes.
incredible guests that come on. I'm just so delighted and delighted to have these conversations. So we're
Absolutely.
talking about social wellness today.
Yes. And to start us off with the definition, talking about what is social wellness, it is nurturing ourselves and others and our relationships. Social wellness consists of not only balancing our own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, but also actively participating as an interdependent piece of the bigger puzzle of humankind.
I love that.
Yeah.
An interdependent piece of the bigger puzzle. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, it's the nurturing ourselves. It's all of it, really, which is why we continue to have these conversations and we talk about all eight dimensions. But for me, especially when we think about things that happen across the world, this week we know there's a lot going on, whether it's Haiti and natural disasters and the history of things that have happened there, or Afghanistan and everything that's going on. I feel a pull to always say something about it. And especially somebody with a platform, I correct myself with the things I've said on the podcast, the things I say on social media, and I take that responsibility seriously. So when things happen, should you always say something? To maintain my social wellness, honestly, I say no. Not every single time. For me, that's one of my boundaries that I hold so that I don't have to hold everything for the whole world and I can continue to move forward in the things that I personally need to work on to make sure that I'm healthy in a well-rounded way. But we still have to be aware of everything.
Right. And in whether we talk about it or not, whether we dive off into it, like I know we hold it in our consciousness. Like I was thinking today as I dropped my youngest off at this gorgeous campus and the freedom that she has in America to get this education as a young woman. I think about the women who are not having that freedom right now, and
Yeah.
especially in other countries. And how it's easy to take that for granted here, because, we like to get off into politics and what's not working and what, and it's important to have those debates too. But
Yeah.
when I think about, we take it for granted that our girls get to go to school and that I get to drop her off and she's safe. And, that's, or, I mean, as safe as she can, I don't think there's any safe spaces anymore. I think there's brave spaces, but she has the opportunity to be brave and to be out there and to be independent. And what a gift that is, I also, talking about social wellness, I have to tell you, Shannon, because we're very different generations. For listeners that are not seeing us online, we're very different generations and very different backgrounds. And when I went to school, of course, I'm totally dating myself, y'all. Like, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have smartphones. And this youngest one today, it was amazing because they've been having a group chat for all summer. So she knew, like, they got together for lunch and there was 20 people that knew each other from the internet, right? Like, the social wellness piece of it, I think about, because I'm one of those moms that, my kids will laugh at me because I blame everything on the internet, get off your phone, get off this or that. Like, but the positive side of it and the power, like, she did not feel isolated at all. Like, this was the first time these folks had met in person, but they knew each other, right? Like, that was a really positive thing about social wellness and technology. I was like, all right, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it reminds me of you. So you saying that reminds me of one of my roommates from college. And we called each other, our nickname is White Shannon and Black Shannon. Okay. Because that's who we are. And I love Shannon. She's about to get married. We're about to go celebrate her and her fiance this weekend. So shout out to you, Shannon. But I messaged her on Facebook before she moved in and she never messaged me back. And I was like, wait, you are my roommate? I tried to message you. So I love that they have that connection. And of course, we've had a great relationship since then, but connecting through social media, and the college experience, especially as a young lady. Our guest today, I had the privilege, so glad I went to school with her, of going to college with her. And what you just said about education reminds me of graduation, actually. When I was designing my graduation cap, I said, I didn't even know this was a whole thing. What do you put on here? I decided to put Black Lives Matter because they do, and it's relevant, right? And I wanted to showcase that on my honored graduation cap as I walked across the stage with no shoes on because my shoes broke walking to graduation. But had it not been Black Lives Matter, it would have been I am Malala, because having hot water, oil burned down your throat or poured down your throat to get an education on the bus, like crazy stories about things that women are still doing in order to learn.
Right. And have access. Yeah. Yeah. So sending out prayers and thoughts and everything we can to, any women out there that are struggling for access and equal opportunity in our country and in other countries. Because it's real, we know it's real, and holding all that in our bodies as we move forward. Let's take a deep breath with that. Let's take a deep breath. Whew.
And I'm gonna shake it
right?
out.
Shake it out of our bodies. Shake it out of our bodies, because that's one of the ways we know through interplay and through somatic practices to be able to hold as much as we hold is we have to have ways to process it and let it come out of our bodies. Because if we hold it all in, it can make us sick mentally and emotionally and physically. So taking that yes, we can process a lot, and yes, we can do a lot. But having the tools to do it, for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, my friend, I am so excited about our guest today and some things that she has cooking up.
She's so cool.
You ready to bring her up?
I am.
All right. She provided us with a short bio, but it does not negate the depth of her wisdom and what she has happening. So Asia Moore is an international teacher and entrepreneur who has some really exciting stuff coming up that we're going to chat about and talk about today. So it's a little bit of a mystery. So we're just going to bring her up and let's have this conversation. Asia!
Hey, welcome to the
Welcome.
podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I could be here.
Yes. And so one thing I love, the first thing I looked at when you popped up was this apostrophe behind your name. Okay. So when you spell Asia's name, make sure that you have the apostrophe. Okay. It was funny. A few weeks before I invited her to be on, somebody, I think I posted a picture of us or something, and they were like, I didn't know you know Asia. They didn't put the apostrophe. Okay, guys. I said, I don't even know who you're talking about because her name has an apostrophe. So when I think about social wellness and holding space as a whole person and everything, dimensional woman, right? I think about women like you who have inspired me to be myself and remind people that, hey, this is actually how I want to be treated. This is actually what I need. You know, going to Costa Rica, being able to visit you as you were a science teacher. Like, I love all the different things that you've taken the time to do with your life. So I'll give you the floor and allow you to introduce yourself.
Well, hey guys. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that I was even selected as a person that to be connected in wisdom. So thank you, Shannon and Christine. My name is Asia. Yes, that apostrophe is there. It's on the birth certificate, so don't leave it out. Like Christine said, I am an international teacher. I taught in Costa Rica for several years and then went to China for several years as well. Came back for COVID. COVID got me back here, but I've been loving teaching in my home city and home state. So that has been great. And then I just started an entrepreneurial journey with my best friend. We are creating, it's an app. It's something that's very needed. It's a beauty supply ordering and delivery app. So if you think about, Uber Eats and DoorDash, you can get food delivered, but now you can get beauty supplies delivered. So if you need some 1B hair or an edge control, that is only a click away.
Yes, I love it. And I just started working again, and there's been a couple of ladies. They're like, oh, I need some edge control. So I think it's going to be great. I'm so excited for it. And I love that you're getting into not only entrepreneurship, but tech too, technology. It's great.
It's time. We need it.
Yeah. I love this concept so much. I feel like it's $1 million idea. Like, I feel like it may be more than that, yeah. But, you think about there's times you don't want to go out, right? There's times you're like, ooh, I can't go out.
The part. I'm not ready.
And, you think about that maybe when you need beauty supply, you're like, that is such a fabulous idea.
Thank you. It was my best friend's idea. Her name is Lafanique Hamler, and she's on our website. You can check her out. She's amazing.
Shout out to Lafanique. So when you hear, let's talk about social wellness, right? All of the things you've done. Our listener, I've always loved the fact that you took a year off of undergrad to be a cheerleader on the United States of America team. Okay. When you think about social wellness, how do you feel like you've managed to balance that in a healthy way?
Okay. In a healthy way, I feel like I've managed it by having a good support system, a good people around me to keep me grounded, to keep me positive. I don't try to associate a lot with Debbie Downers or people that are going to bring me down. The people in my circle, they will keep it real, but they will also help encourage me, help motivate me. And so I like that having those people with me connected helps me nurture myself and helps me nurture them.
Yeah, and that's so important. When I hear stories about affluent people or people who have reached a certain level, sometimes they can just have yes men around them or yes women, and people think it helps that person always say yes, but that's not true. I need to know that I have a booger in my nose before I come on camera. My tag is out. Like, let me know what's going on. Don't have me looking crazy internationally. Come on, we're supposed to be cool, So I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
For our listeners that are listening and not watching, Shannon does not have a booger in her nose, by the way. We would have called her on that before she got on camera.
Thank you. Thank you. So, especially as somebody who is about to launch this amazing app, right, with Lafanique, how do you feel like you have maintained, I guess the way I'm trying to ask is, how do you feel like you've maintained a healthy image of yourself, right? This is something I work a lot with Shaylo Glow. It's not just about shea butter and skin. Sometimes the fact that people don't take care of themselves is because of what they think about their skin, you know, the shade that we are. There's an article on, what is this? MIT's website about how digital beauty filters perpetuate colorism, right? So I love that we're talking about that, and it's necessary to talk about. But we can also talk about this female-owned company that's about to help you with your needs so that you can make sure that you're taken care of. So what about your self-image and how you've maintained that when you think about social wellness?
Especially with this business, me and my partner, we were definitely thinking about like making sure it's something that reflects us. Like when we're thinking about our mission statement, we're not thinking about like, we're thinking about ourselves. Like, how do we want this to come across to people, and how we feel as Black women, and we know the need for other Black women. How can we make this something that shows who we are and is great, like it, and is people think that it's great as well. um I did mention like about the social part, like how when me and Lafanique are having business meetings, like sometimes we have to like pause and say, hey girl, she's my best friend, so like let's have a best friend talk before we do our business talk, because we can get so caught up in the business. But again, this is my best friend. I want to know, like, how's married life? She just got married, so like how's that been? Like, when are y'all having babies and things like that. So it's great to have her as a partner because she is my best friend, and then to that's so much trust that I have in her, and us being able to like chill and talk about real things is takes the stress off of trying to build this business together as well.
Absolutely. So I hear you talking about the business, right? And making sure that the message is right, that we're not just talking about vanity, and we're actually, hey, this is who you are. This is what you look like. This is what you need to really take care of yourself, right? I hear you talking about, we call it partnership power with Christine's book, Still Point, and how you use the power in your community. But because we're best friends and business partners, we're going to talk about the business. Let's make sure we talk about this best friendship too. And, you know, how do you say it? Really like staying in touch and checking in with each other. But what about you personally? Because that's also the part of social wellness, right? How do you maintain that even outside of your responsibilities and your other relationships?
Definitely trying to take time to myself. I am very social and extrovert, social butterfly, but I have to schedule time in my week to be like, this is just time for me, where I get to do things that I want to do. I get to, if it's reading books that I want to read, if it's watching shows that I want to watch, it's set aside just for me, and no one is going to affect that. I have parents like asking, could you change your tutoring schedule? We really need you on this day. And I'm like, no, I have to say no. I know that I gave so much of myself in the past to where I didn't have that time for myself. And I felt like it could possibly have made my mental not as well as it could have been. And so this school year, I am taking that time, and it's only been a couple of weeks in the school year, but I'm loving it. I'm loving just sitting and just, what can I do today? Because there's nothing to do. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that about boundaries. I mean, what I heard you say really clear is good boundaries for social care and wellness. And I think that's so true. And we don't think about that, because often we think, oh, if this person calls me, we have to pick up the phone, especially with the way we're all tied to our smartphones these days, right?
Mhm.
I recently, Asia, took 3 days off for a short, maybe it was 4 with travel. Who knows? My brain I can't comprehend even what day it is anymore. But I purposely took time off and put up my vacation reminders and went away from my phone. And it was hard for a lot of people because they're not used to me not being on the phone, right? But I think I recommend it to everybody. Like, take a break and disconnect and take some time where you are out of connection and don't have good Wi-Fi. So people can't reach you. It was delightful.
Mm,
Yeah.
I
Like when
agree.
I was growing up, we went on church trips. We would go to the mountains. We would go all different types of places, you know. And at first there is I'm not gonna be able to, what was it then, like MySpace or whatever we used to use, you know. But honestly, those are some of my favorite times. I love looking at the dew on the morning grass or just running around and remembering what life is actually about, you know. And now absolutely. I my relationship with my phone, and with anything, whether it's my emotions or food, I try to remember that I have the authority and the dominion to say what it's gonna be. My phone rings. I'm not a frog. I do not just jump up and go, mm-mm. If I'm asleep, I'm asleep, and I'll get back to you, you know? And that has helped me so much. Not only is like a to-do list in the back of my mind, let's say anxiety provoking, right? But so is if I've poured out and if I'm running, I'm going to the grocery store, I'm going to work, I'm doing social media, I've done all this stuff, but you haven't drank any water. You didn't write in your journal. You didn't stretch today. You know, that stuff really changes my mood, changes how I show up at the grocery store. I might be a little hangry. Now we're rushing around. Now you got an attitude on the road when you could have been chilling, listening to Jill Scott, had you drank some water, you know, before you did that. And I love what you said, Christine, about how tied are you to technology. That's, again, I specifically try to keep that boundary and don't get too attached to it. So in the morning, and you ladies have heard me talk about this before if you listen to the podcast, I don't touch my phone. I don't check my emails. I don't check social media before this stuff is done. And that way I know my cup has a certain amount in it before I start pouring out. It's just like a bank account. I can't afford to give you money if I don't have money for my bills. That's not me being a bad person. That's being a responsible steward of the resources and the opportunities that I have. So yeah, I definitely agree with it. And especially one more thing I'll say too, watching TV, watching shows and stuff. I've been watching Love and Hip Hop the past few days, and I usually don't watch reality TV, but for me, TV is like a way to not have to use my brain power, right? I do a lot of development, audiobooks, reading, classes, webinars, all this stuff. Sometimes I just want to cut it off. I just want to sit here, be entertained, and that's how I feed into myself too. So I get it.
Asia, what's your favorite thing to do to recharge?
Travel.
Mm.
Yes, I love traveling, and it helps me reset. I love seeing new places and just getting a I feel like in Atlanta, and I can always be pulled in a lot of different directions. I have my friends here, I have my family here, but if I'm on a remote island, don't know anyone, I have to really like sit down and like look at the scenery and really like take it all in. So I love traveling as a refresher.
I love that. Where can you tell us where the last place you went was?
The very last place I went to was Denver, Colorado. Beautiful mountains, beautiful.
I love flying into that airport. My sister doesn't live far from there, and that was one of the last places I got to travel to too. And I love when you're flying in and you get that first glimpse of the Rockies. It's just magical.
It is.
It's magical. I love that. Yeah. So where do you want to go next?
That's a great question. It's a birthday, so she's trying to go to any place that starts with a B. So I'm hoping Belize or Barbados is in the books.
I like that.
Yeah, that was cute.
What a fun thing. Now, I had a question about when you taught in Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
Tell our listeners about that. How was that?
Oh, that was amazing, y'all. I love Costa Rica. That country has a place in my heart. I just went back to see my students graduate this past June, and it felt like home, like coming back and seeing all my old friends, eating at all my favorite restaurants. Oh, it was so nostalgic. Um, it was interesting. It was my very first big girl job. And so not a lot of people could say that their first job was in another country. So it was unique in my experience to kind of go from being the majority of there's lots of Black people in Atlanta to the minority where there's only me. I only saw me or the other teachers that are the Americans or that are even Black. And so kind of living like that was a little different for me. I never used to stand out in that aspect, and it was interesting and but still fun. Like I had lots of fun. I learned how to surf, kayaked for the first time, snorkeled, like camped on a beach. It was amazing.
So how did you decide this is my first job? Like, was there a company that got you interested in it? Did you just think, like, I'm just always curious about like what led you to that moment of teaching internationally?
Okay. So got a little backstory. I did not want to be a teacher. In college, my last 2 years of school, I was like, you know what? I want to be a WWE diva. I wanted to wrestle. I wanted to keep my cheerleading skills of backflipping, and I was like, I can do this in the ring. Like I could flip and tumble and beat girls up. And that's what I wanted to do. My school had a study abroad program in Costa Rica, and I applied for it. But because all my teachers knew that I didn't want to be a WWE diva, the dean had a meeting with me and told me, he was like, we don't know if we can actually let you go to Costa Rica because we know you don't really want to be a teacher. And these parents are spending lots of money for their children to go to this private school. So if we allow you to be on this study abroad program, you're going to need to take it seriously. And I was like, of course, like this is my fallback plan. If wrestling doesn't work out, I'm going to be a teacher. So they let me go, and the way that school ran, it was different than any school I have ever. We had hour-long lunches with recess in it with middle school students. And in America, recess is gone after 5th grade. And so now I'm here with 7th and 8th graders. They're running and playing on the recess field and getting all that energy out that they need to get out. And the way that the was set up, it was so outward facing. Like I didn't feel like I was in a classroom all the time. I felt like I was a part of the jungle, a part of nature. And it was so cool to see that and be in that environment. And then I would have like my students would be my little fans cheering me on, going, Miss Moore. And so I was like, oh, this is what I wanted from wrestling. Like I could do backflips in the classroom, and I could have my little fan section cheering me on while I teach them about science and math. So I really enjoyed my time there. And so I applied at the school. I was like, I can't work for any other school. Got to work for this school. And they hired me.
Oh, that is an awesome story, Asia. I love that. Now, how long did you teach in Costa Rica?
I was there for 3 years.
Awesome. And then you went to China?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I did. Mm-hmm. My principal in China, she quit. I mean, my principal in Costa Rica, she quit and got a job in China. I'm sorry, mixing up China. And she asked me if I would come with her, and I said yes. However, I didn't actually get to teach at her school. The paperwork for the area of China she was in was not like they couldn't get a visa in time for me. So I applied to another school in Shanghai, and they were looking for exactly what my resume had on it. So it was a good fit, and I went over there.
And how long were you there?
I was there until January 2020. So we had a holiday that I flew into Atlanta for like the holiday, and then COVID happened. COVID was happening over there, and they shut the borders down. And so I got stuck here, couldn't get back, and so I had to resign, and then got a job in Atlanta.
All right. So you're currently teaching stateside.
Yes, yes.
Until you can fly again. Here's what I love for our listeners who will be listening on all the major podcast platforms and not seeing Asia's face right now. She lights up when she talks about teaching these kids overseas and talks about the combination of her love of travel and teaching. Mm-hmm. And honestly, totally lit up when talked about wrestling too. Which
I forgot about that. That's
a good story.
That's a great story. I've never met somebody who wanted to be a WWE wrestler. Like, that's awesome, Asia.
I still have potential. You know, they're about my age now. If I start training.
One thing I love about you, Asia, is it's whatever you want to do. I could be a wrestler or a teacher. Like for me, those would never be on the same list, you know. Like, what do you think Miss Moore wanted to do before she came here? Wrestle, you know. But I love that. I have a question about the difference of the social environment in Costa Rica and China. How are they different, and how are they the same too?
Okay. How are they different? Costa Rica's culture is real. They say pura vida, tranquila. So very pure life. They're all about do what you do for you. They're all about and like the Starbucks there doesn't open at 4 a.m. like it opens here. It's like maybe 8 or 9. Like everything is on a much slower pace. And I love that about the culture, like really coming from a fast-paced America, going to a slow-paced Costa Rica. You're like, wow, like why don't we take the time to just sit and relax? So I really like that aspect. I really loved the Hispanic culture around the music and the dancing. I learned how to salsa, merengue, bachata. Like it's such a different experience than American clubs for me. And so it was really nice. I loved getting to know Costa Ricans and their culture, and feeling like as an American, I didn't feel like we had a culture. Like what's the typical American food? Hot dogs and hamburgers. You know, I can go to Costa Rica and ask for the typical food, and it will be the same on this side of the country or on that side of the country. So I really like that. In China, there was a huge expat community. So I felt like all of our the teachers at my school, we all kind of gravitated towards that expat community. Like we're all foreigners in this country. Most of us didn't know Mandarin at the time. And so creating that community around foreign teachers, living abroad, it was fun. And we're all like each other's family because we're miles away from home. So it was really nice to have like besties over there that held me down and kept me happy when I felt homesick.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to our Chinese listeners because we very definitely have some. And so to all the women in China that are listening right now, we want to give you a shout out. And Asia, you said you didn't know Mandarin then. Did you learn some?
I know a little.
All right. Can you say hello to our listeners?
Ni hao.
Ni hao. Thank you.
Learn something new. I love it. And I can say you were definitely that person for me, Asia. In college, coming to do my laundry in your dorm room. You know, I tell people, I went to Costa Rica by myself. I got over there by myself. They tried to not let me in at the airport. They said, what is the address? I said, oh, shoot. What is the address? My phone was dying. Asia came and saved the day, you know. So I hear what you're saying about the community that you formed. And I love, you know, I hadn't thought about all the different ways that, well, that's not true. But now when I think about Women Connected in Wisdom, it makes me think about all the different times when somebody reached back and helped me, you know. So for your principal to say, hey, I'm leaving. Do you want to come to China? That's what I'm talking about. You know, like be connected, and how does our social wellness and connectedness work together so that we can, you know, continue to do new things and go to new places. Yeah, I love that.
I love that. I love that so much. So, Asia, I'm thinking today, because I just dropped my youngest off at college. If you had advice for young women, because I look at you and I look at what you've already accomplished in your life, and you have all these big dreams coming up as the entrepreneur too. Like, what would be your wisdom?
My wisdom would be that no one can tell you how your life is supposed to go. You get to write it however you choose, and it's all on you.
Ooh, that's some good wisdom. And y'all, she knows what she's talking about. If you hear this life story, you know what you're talking about, Asia. And I just can't wait to see what you're doing next. Like, I'm just like, ooh, how do I follow Asia on social media so I can see what she's up to? Because this is an exciting, adventurous life you've created for yourself.
Thank you. I don't really post on social media nowadays, but I think I'm gonna have to with this business coming in. But you can follow me at Asia, not Asia. It is my name, AJA _ not _ ASIA, because that is not how you spell my name.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shannon,
yes.
you have a question for Asia before we start talking about wisdom in action?
So I know you said that your social media for your app is launching on Monday, right? So where can they get in contact with that?
They can go to beautysupply.com. That is where you can subscribe for our launch updates. We also have Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Most of those are the Beauty Supplied handle, just Beauty Supplied. And then our Instagram is Beauty Supplied app. So those are how you can follow us and see our journey to launch. So close, guys, so close.
This is so exciting. And we will put all those in the show notes. So if folks want to like and subscribe and follow you, that's a good thing to do as you get ready to launch this app. And we will be watching and cheering you on. This is exciting. And we also know, as exciting as a new launch is, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So we wish you and your business partner like all the best. So
thank you so much.
Yes,
so
thank you so much.
Wisdom in action for this week, ladies. Like, we always do a hashtag, Asia, hashtag wisdom in action. So when you think about social wellness, what is your hashtag wisdom in action this week?
Hashtag alone time. Hashtag do you, boo boo.
I love it. Do you, boo boo. Really though. Yeah. Mine is more on the community part, supporting Shannon and her fiance getting married. And I actually also have a repast to go to. So it's all about life, and supporting the community that I'm in and showing up for them.
Yeah. Mine for this week is reconnecting, because I disconnected for some self-care, and it's time to reconnect, and also reconnecting in this new stage of life. My daily parenting is done. Like, you never quit being a parent, but
Right.
The daily part is done. So what does that look like? So I got some exploring to do, I think, on my wisdom in action hashtag. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, Asia, thank you so much for coming and having this delightful conversation with us today. This has been wonderful.
And thank you both for having me.
You're so welcome. Of course. Talk to you soon.
So cool, Shannon.
Hey, I have cool friends. What can I say? I know a lot of cool
people. I'm like still just what a fabulous idea that you have an app that you can get on and get your beauty supplies.
I love the name.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I hope they stock Shaylo Glow. We should have had that. We didn't want to put her on spot and have that conversation. But
you know,
no.
I look forward to it. You know, and that's how our relationship has always been. Whether it's us as RAs throwing events together and teaching the residents together, her helping me out, me watching her do all these amazing things. She's always been such an inspiration. You know, so I love it.
Yeah. Shout out to all those RAs, past and present, right? Really. They greeted us today and made us feel welcome and at home. And, you know, that does a mama's heart good that there's people looking out for your littles when they come. Not so little anymore, but, you know.
Yeah, we say Res Life for Life, you know, so shout out to all the Residence Life associates helping our students out, especially now. You know, because now it's crazy. I used to tell the residents, I'm not here to snitch on you, do all that stuff, but I need you to get back to your parents, okay? Like, I need them to be safe and to have a good time. So, yeah, I'm so excited for her and her college journey.
Oh, I am too. It's, yeah, like it was very interesting. Our sweet little lady at the Walgreens, you know, we were doing the last shop that you do to get the last little things you need. And we were telling her she was off to college and she's like, well, don't have fun. And we were like, what? Like, I mean, I think about that when I think about social wellness, right? I'm like, no, Miss Betty, we want her to have fun. You know, we want her to balance her fun with her studies, but that's about life and wellness. And it was just interesting, some of those stories that we tell ourselves or don't. And then I meet a guest like Asia who's like going for it, like going to Costa Rica and going to China. Like, and it's like limitless, right? On what you can create in your world.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. I remember our trip to Costa Rica. She was talking or my trip. And she was talking about, I think was it a cheerleading coach? And she said, if you do it once, it might be an accident. You got to be able to do it at least twice. And that's what I take with me to, whether it's my hashtag, go get it, period, you know, when trying new things, you know, being good or trying things that you're bad at. You know, you might be able to do it once when you can finally do it, but then you got to do it again and just keep going. Yeah.
Well, talking about doing it again and again.
Yeah.
What's happening over Shaylo Glow?
Oof.
What you doing again this week?
So this week what are we doing again? So much stuff. I've been working on stuff for 2022 actually. But what we're doing again is extending the line, ladies. So we have more scents. I did a poll yesterday if we wanted mango oil or lavender vanilla oil. And you ladies will get the news first. I'm planning on doing both. Okay. So
yeah. I love it.
Yes. So we have some new things coming for you. We have a wait list that's being created. If you're interested in getting the new scents or the new sizes, message me on Shaylo Glow. But outside of what we're doing, what we're continuing to do is the Sheryl Nomination. If you have somebody in your life that's helped you in your education or helped you in your social wellness, that's made a huge difference, and you feel like she could, you know, have something that makes a difference in her self-care and self-love journey, we are giving the gift of free Shaylo Glow. All you have to do is email me, at shayloglow@gmail.com, and she will be put in the nominations. And for you ladies who are listening, not only do you have all the good new information, but I also have a discount code for you. So if you go to shayloglow.com, WISE5, you can use that to get a bonus discount off of your items. And if you like glass containers, make sure you go and get those today, because after they run out, they are gone. We're going to bigger sizes, moving on to bigger and better for you ladies. But you can enjoy that today.
Oh, I love it. You are always just doing such an awesome job over there, Shannon. Thank you so much for everything you do for our community. Yes. And we're so grateful to have Shaylo Glow as a sponsor. Well, my friend.
Yes, it's about that time.
It is about that time, right?
Ladies, thank you so much for listening in to our and watching to our conversation this week. We will see you next week at 5. And in the meantime, be well, be wise, and be whole.